Hello and welcome to Really Cool People, a podcast produced by Schweitzer Church. I'm your host, Jason Leininger. This is a place to hear stories of really cool people. The hope is that you and I listen will be inspired, encouraged, and challenged through moments of serendipity. In a sermon entitled The Weight of Glory, C.S. Lewis said, "There are no ordinary people. You and I have never talked to a mere mortal." It's my joy over the next few moments to introduce you to somebody who may seem somewhat ordinary, especially themselves, and yet they're a really cool person. Today, we're going to meet Ray and Faye Likes. Now, Ray and Faye are the grandparents of our producer, Taylor Likes, and they live in Stonington, Illinois. Taylor and I had the joy and privilege of traveling from Springfield, Missouri, up to Stonington and having this conversation in a very domestic environment. We actually had this conversation a little bit over lunch. And so you may hear some things in the background, but Ray and Faye both lend their voices, mostly Ray's voice because Faye's struggling with Parkinson's. They've been married for 68 years. They've got a fantastic story. And one of the things that strikes me, one of those serendipitous moments for me, was Ray talked about how they're happy. They're going to talk about all kinds of things that they encountered. They're going to talk about how they moved. They're going to talk some about their ancestry. But they've really discovered what happiness is, and they're living a happy life. And so I hope you enjoy this conversation with Ray and Faye Likes. So let's start. You just tell me your story. Tell me Faye's story, whatever you want to tell me.
Well, Faye was born and raised in Springfield, Illinois. And at the time they started out, her dad lived on a farm. He worked as a carpenter, but he moved to town. And then her mother got into politics and was a die-hard Democrat, and so wasn't her dad till the day they died. And I think they still are down in the grave. But they were really good people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they had a very good bloodline. We can trace most of her family back, DAR. She could qualify for that about 9 times. And the Harrises and the Harrisons are part of her line.
Okay.
And they had a lot of land because they had been soldiers in the British Army, and they had King's grants, which were grants that were granted to officers in the Army. You either got a full grant was 8,000 acres, half grant was 4,000, quarter grant was 2,000.
Wow.
And she had one that had a half 4,000 acre one, half grant. And the family, over the time, they'd been in here since the Revolution. Mm-hmm. Over time, by the Civil War, it was a family affair. Mm-hmm. All depending on that. But they went into politics, too. Okay. But anyway, they went on, and the Civil War devastated them. Their place were burned out, shot down. They didn't have anything when they came back. Land had been confiscated. They had to move to live.
Wow.
They moved to Evansville, Indiana, as coal miners. Stayed there a brief time, went on to Marissa, Illinois, near Pinckneyville, which is near Carbondale.
Okay.
As coal miners. Well, Faye's dad was a carpenter in a coal mine. So they moved to Springfield. She married into a family of Methodist preachers. I mean, a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. And they were good people. Mm-hmm. But then on the Likeses, I had a grandpa that came here in 1840 from England, near Yorktown. But he came here into a settled area of the state that was Scott County, was almost fully occupied with English people. Okay. So he came here and knew everybody. He came here, he had been a carpenter. He'd also been a circuit judge in England. He well liked, come here, bought land, farmland, and built a house. Well, while he was at it, he just built the Methodist Church at Oxville, Illinois. That's a little village.
Okay.
And he also made a pulpit and carved it, and it's still there. Church is still standing.
Really?
Yeah. And but he had a son, which was one of my uncles, great uncles, that also was a circuit judge in Scott County. And eventually, death, disease took over. Well, my grandmother ended up with the farm in 1931 when she was about 34 years old. And she had all that farmland, no husband, 5 kids, little kids. She farmed that farm.
How many acres?
She owned at that time about 700 acres.
Wow.
But you'd had to know her. Not, I just sound like I'm bragging, but she was a woman like you never saw. She hired. This is during Depression now, right? During.
Yeah.
She hired 2 women as housekeepers. They did the cleaning and the laundry, and they did some of the cooking, but grandmother did most of the cooking. But she ran that farm. She had 6 or 7 hired hands. She always helped anybody she could anyway. After the war, people would come to our house and say, I want to pay back what your mom loaned me. Because I was home on leave and didn't have any money to get back, she gave me $5. She gave me $20. That was just a common story at our house.
Wow.
And that's the way we lived. We lived, wasn't just our farm, it was the neighbors that were down and out. And she didn't need to do she had a dairy herd of 26 cows. And she only had that herd because that gave those men something to do.
That's a really big herd.
Well, it was big enough. That's where I come into the story.
Okay.
During World War II, my mom had 5 kids in about 7 years.
Were you born out there in California?
No, I had sisters born out there in California.
Okay.
We went out there with 2 kids.
Okay.
And I was about 3 or 4. We came back. I missed kindergarten out there.
Okay.
Started 1st grade back in Illinois.
Huh. Where were you born? Faye?
Springfield.
Springfield?
But her dad went out to Phoenix. She went to high school at Phoenix Union for a while. High school.
Really?
Because her mom and dad were adventurers.
Interesting.
Yeah. My dad when the war started, he didn't go right into service. He worked in a defense plant in Burlington, Iowa, and one in Jacksonville, Illinois.
Okay.
But he said, I can't do this. I know too much about airplanes. So enlisted with a bunch of kids. And we moved to town.
How old was your dad when he enlisted?
26. He was the old man. And I lost a sister. We had scarlet fever and then caught measles, and she died. No penicillin, we just had to watch her die. About 14 months old. Mom about went nuts. So Grandma and my dad and other grandma decided the best thing for her to do was go live on base with him. So she took the 2 youngest kids and went to live with him all over Texas, wherever he went. And the other 2 oldest ones went to live with my grandma Likes, who we call Mom. And I thought I'd died and gone to heaven because I loved that farm. Well, when I got there, Mom says, "You gonna have to help out now." And I said, "We've got these milk cows here at home, and those little nipples of theirs are too little for my men's hands. You're gonna have to learn how to milk." So the third grade, I started milking. Had 3 cows. We milked 2 all the time, but one was usually dry. You had to do that to get milk when they were calving. Do you know that I milked those cows? Now, we had to replace 1 or 2 because of old.
Yeah.
But I milked 2 cows night and day for 10 years. When I graduated from high school and got ready to go to college, I left on Sunday, and those cows went to the market on Monday. And they used milk cartons ever since. That never hurt me a bit to get up and take care of those cows. In fact, it taught me a lot of things. Because you had to be they gave me enough chores to do. You had to be really organized to get it done.
Yes, you did.
And get up and go to school, that kind of thing.
Did they ever kick you?
They tried to.
You were fast enough to avoid it?
I never really got kicked hard. I mean, I got knocked sideways, but
yeah,
they were just little Jersey cows. They were real gentle.
Yeah.
They kicked. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't. They were good cows. Of course, that meant the cats always followed me to do the chores.
Yeah. You've probably never had the opportunity to spray your grandkids with some milk, fresh milk that way.
They don't even know what fresh milk is. I don't think we'd even got Taylor in the barn.
Earlier, you were saying that you spent a little time in California. When did you go to California? How old were you? And you didn't stay there very long.
We went there the summer before 41. Went there in 40. Stayed that summer and the next summer. And then came home in the fall. We were there a year and 3 or 4 months.
Why did you go out there?
Because my dad had a cousin, is his best friend, that was an adventures guy. And he went out and worked for Douglas Aircraft. And he got to be a supervisor, fast. He was a heck of a guy, this cousin. And he wrote a letter home, and he said, "Hank, if you need work, come out to California. I've got a job waiting for you and as many men as you want to bring." So 3 guys from home left. My dad, was a good friend, Ed Colas, and another good friend, which his mom worked for us, Cliff Cox.
Okay.
And they all went out there and worked. When the war started, Ed Colas joined the Navy and got bombed right off the bat, depth charge in the submarine. Cliff was a little bit older. He didn't have to go to service. He started building houses, become a general contractor, and made a lot of money.
And then your dad decided to come back to Illinois?
When he came back to Illinois, he didn't really want to farm, but he farmed anyway. He was a pretty good artist. He was a good whittler. See some of those things he's carved over there. I've got what's left over.
What year did he join the Army Air Force?
42, 43.
And then did he see action?
Never. They were building this big fleet of B-29s to go in and do the job. And they never got on Japan. Yeah. He never got sent. They sat there waiting for the right time. But I forget how big that fleet was, but it was a lot of B-29s.
It was huge.
Yeah. And he was in that.
So then what happened after the war ended?
He came back and started farming. Didn't make any money the first 2 years, but in 1947, we had a pretty good year, and in 49, we had a pretty good year. Then in 54, we had a really bad year. You know what happened in 54? That was a big drought. as the hottest days recorded. You know, on July 14th, it was 112, or on July 12th, it was 114. I don't remember which.
Wow.
But the corn just burned up. It didn't drought. The leaves just turned brown and fell down, powder.
Was that a drought that hit Illinois, Indiana, and Missouri?
I don't know for sure where it lived. All I know is we had a herd of 60 cattle, all purebred Angus. We had that herd. We didn't have anything to feed them, nothing. So we were desperate. We sold them to a cattleman from Nebraska.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then they went to a feedlot out there.
Well, no, this is probably breeding stock. Okay. We had pretty good stuff.
Okay.
But then we went out of cattle business, so we went to hog business. We raised hogs. 2,000 a year, start to finish, pig to sales. And that was pretty hard to do. But we did it, and we got made a lot of money. Went broke a few times, just about went broke. But anyway, we lived through that, and finally got organized on the hogs. We had water all over the farm, and went to a lot easier. We always farrowed every month so we could hit the market.
Okay. We
hit the highs and we hit the lows. So we was always having hogs with pigs. Huh. But we got up maybe close to 4,000.
Which smell did you like better? The cattle smell or the hog smell?
Well, the cattle didn't have that much smell, but to me, the hog smell smelled like money, so it didn't bother me a bit.
I was going to ask you if you were able to get a date with all that hog smell.
Well, you see what I got.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one time, my brother got married, and he brought his wife down there, and we were going to go visit somebody as a family. Sitting in the car, and this old boar jumped on this sow. And I said to my sister-in-law, "Look out there. That ground's so darned hard they have to double up the root." you should have seen her face.
She was not necessarily, was she not used to farming?
He didn't know what a pig looked like.
When did you graduate from high school?
1955. Best class I ever had. Ever came out of school, any school.
Did Faye graduate the same year?
Yes.
Did you go to the same high school?
Nope. She went to high school with probably 500 to a class, 450, 500. I went to high school, had 30 to a class.
That's a big difference.
You had about 450, didn't you?
I had no idea.
Was that in Springfield?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Springfield High School.
She went to Springfield High.
And where did you go?
Bluffs.
Okay.
Bluffs, Illinois. But Bluffs wasn't our town. It was a railroad town. Had a roundhouse and all that. And we liked those people up there, but we were from Winchester. We were English. And back then, what you were made a little difference. The guys in Bluffs were all German, because there was a creek ran down through there, and anything north, you're German, anything south, you're in that county. But they got along real well. I went to school. I had a lot more German friends than English. And we were buddies.
When did that awareness or knowledge that there was Germans and English, did that ever wear out? Did that ever come to an end?
It wore out because the Germans had a German Lutheran church and a regular Lutheran church. And they had a mean minister up there. And boy, I went to date one time, going to take her to a dance, and he made her take communion, and join the church before he'd let her go out with me. I don't think we went on the date.
It's a high expectation to go on a date.
Yeah. But anyway, but after he died, things got a little bit different. In fact, my uncle married one of those girls, and she's a nice girl.
Huh. What did you guys, when you were in high school, middle school, what did you listen to for music? Did you listen to music?
Yeah, we listened to music. We listened about anything on the radio. I like hillbilly rap music. I like regular music.
What radio station did you listen to? Do you remember the call signals?
No. Good Lord, I can't even remember my name. I just listen to radio. Not very often. We listen to the radio every morning for news, and sometimes at noon, but not very often. That brings up another thing. When we were farming, many times we had hired men that ate with us, but not all the time. But after it got so we were doing most of the farming without that much help, my dad insisted that we be at that table at 12 o'clock. Now, Mom went to a lot of work to get this fixed up. Mother fixed up. We're going to be there. So we were there, washed up and ready to eat. And he said, we're taking 1 hour out for lunch. And we always took 1 hour to eat. Mm-hmm. And during that hour, we ate slow. I eat slow. We ate slow and we talked. And he'd say, now, Jason, how you getting along with that fence back there on that Crumb 40? And you'd say, well, I got a little trouble. But we'd say, well, maybe somebody can come help you. But we were planning our afternoon. Mm-hmm. And the next morning, that's what we did. And we all got to be in on the planning. Mm-hmm. You know, your dad, I said one end of the table, he said the other. You felt like you was part of the operation. Mm-hmm. And that's what you got to do with people. Mm-hmm. And we all had jobs to do. That's just the way we did. And then usually we got done in maybe 45 minutes. My dad, if he could, snuck in the living room and got on in the recliner and took a nap. Because we worked long, hard hours.
Did you always have dessert?
We never had a meal without it. English. That's just the way it was. Mm-hmm. I had a Grandpa Woodall that also came over on the boat, or not the boat, but anyway, to Winchester, and he was a machinery dealer. And boy, he was mean to eat with. I stayed with him quite a bit during the war. Only lived a block from us. Okay. But I ate with him. And when you went to his house, you sat up straight. You didn't talk unless you were talked to. And you ate just like you should.
Uh-huh. Pick up a fork like you should.
Yeah, do all that thing. Yeah. But he always had to have dessert. Mm-hmm. He was really something about that. He died when he was 86 years old. He had a cancer on his cheek. Skin cancer. And it killed him. Hmm. He was a big man and a good man. A healthy man. But cancer, don't worry about that.
What kind of games did you guys play? Or did other people play when you were teenagers?
Well, when we went to country school, we played things like Red Rover, Kick the Picket, all kind of games like that. In the morning when we first got there, boys that were about my age always played mumbly peg with their knives. Flip them and stick.
Oh, really? Took a knife and stick it in the dirt?
Yeah, you'd flip it up. We were good at it, too. Once in a while, somebody get one on the leg, but that didn't hurt him.
Can you imagine now if kids took a knife to school? They'd call the SWAT team on them.
I tell you, and this is not just us. When I taught in Missouri, I taught at Lewistown for a year in 1959-60. When I
Okay.
taught in Missouri, come squirrel season, the school bus had a whole stack of rifles right up there with the driver. And they took them into school. They took them home.
They're ready to go hunting for
They-
squirrel.
Yeah, school season comes in the morning.
Yeah.
Those kids that like to hunt together,
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got in Illinois, I thought, well, they ain't going to bring guns to school. I'll be darned if they didn't bring guns to school and check them at the office. Deer and duck and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Probably even carried one in to have a mushroom hunt. I don't remember. Kids used to bring guns into me at the shop that their dad wanted fixed.
Huh.
That was just the way it was. And if you were, we carried guns from the time we was 10 years old. If you pointed one at anybody, you're going to get whipped, or darn near whipped, because we did not point a gun at any time at anybody. That's the way we did. We went over a fence. We had to set the gun down and go down one and climb over the fence and go back and get it. Even as kids. And I don't know a kid that was in my high school class that wasn't a good shot with a .22 rifle and a good shot with probably a 410 to 20 gauge shotgun. I always had a 12. I couldn't shoot as fast as the others. No, I shot ducks and, lived in the Illinois River Valley because I just lived 4 miles from the river. And whenever they tell you a story about the sky turning black with ducks, nobody's lying. Those ducks were so thick you could look like you hit them with your gun barrel.
Wow.
All up and down that river. All the way from Peoria down to Grafton.
Huh. When did that change?
70s. Began to change real bad in the 60s. They didn't have the habitat. They didn't have enough cornfields, because the farmers got to taking the corn out real quick. And they had better corn pickers. And they started planting wheat, which the geese loved. And it just farming practices is what knocked it out.
Huh.
Not hunting. It was just habitat.
You went off to college when you were 18?
Yep.
Did Faye go to college when she was 18 also?
Yep.
And where'd you go?
I went to the University of Illinois for a year and enrolled again the second year. And my dad got cancer. And I had to drop out in 1st of October because somebody had to get that corn out. He was sick. I went home, we got the corn out. After I got the corn out, I went out over to Kirksville. Now, that's only part of the story. People don't tell you the whole story, but I also played basketball up there.
At Kirksville?
At U of I.
Oh, you did?
I was a scholarship player. And about the 1st of October, when we had to report for practice, Coach Braun came in and got 4 of us guys sat down there, and he said, boys, I want to talk to you. He said, we have been forced to integrate. We've been forced to play black boys. And we've got to recruit that play what you play, where you play. And they're good players. And you guys are good players. But these guys are the same size as you are, but they don't have to cup their hands when they walk to keep them dragging the ground. And he said, they jump up and kiss the rim, you jump up and touch the rim. And we're going to have to play them eventually. Maybe not, they couldn't play as freshmen. That means that you're going to reach your junior and senior years, and you may not be on the team. You may be just sitting on the bench. He said, if you want to go somewhere, I can fix it so you can start playing anywhere. It's another school. So Tom Haller, who was a baseball player and a football quarterback and a guard, and also owned the New York Giants, stayed, and I think Don Old stayed. 2 stayed, and the other of us left. And when I was picking corn one time, the coach from Kirksville came over and talked to me, and he said, "You want to come over and play for me?" I said, "Well, all right." So, make a long story short, I went over there and tried out for him, and he signed me up. So I played for him 1.5 years.
Okay.
And I finally got so I just didn't want to play anymore. You know, I got married, I had family. I liked to play, but I did not like to go there and run those wind sprints and do all that stuff you have to do. I just said, well, I just don't think I'll do it anymore. You know, I never missed them and they never missed me. But I played Kirksville. And, you know, Kirksville was probably the best school that I've ever even heard of. In the 50s, the legislature from Missouri had 2 big worries. Number one, the education system in Missouri was not too good, and they wanted to catch up. And Missouri drivers weren't very good either. We're going to do something about that. So that's the focus is on education. Kirksville, any class I took had a full professor or associate, but most were full, and all of them had been World War II veterans. Now, later on, after I'd been there for 4 years, they started hiring Korean War veterans. But these people had all been high-ranking officers, instructors during World War II, and they were good, men and women. They had quite a few whacks and ways. And you didn't mess around. They knew how to teach. They knew how to teach you how to teach. And we had some good people.
So what was your first bachelor's degree that you earned?
Industrial education.
Okay. And when did you get married?
I got married after my sophomore year.
Okay.
Because this is another thing. I was always pretty good with shop tools.
Yeah.
And my dad kept saying, gosh, don't get tied down to that. What you need to do is be a tool and die maker. So I went down to Owens, Illinois Glass at Alton, big. And they accepted me as a apprentice. But the classes, and this was in June, the classes didn't get started until October 1st. So they hired me as a load pusher. I was just out there working on the floor. And before I could get there, they went on strike and I couldn't afford to stay there. So I went to Faye's mom. She said, you ought to be an iron worker because they're looking for men. So I did iron worker from, I guess, maybe in August to November. But here's the secret. I was making $1.50 down there at Owens, Illinois. That was shift pay too. And I went to work for the union. And my pay went up to $3.63 an hour. Double time on overtime.
Wow.
Go in 2 hours, you get paid 4. You think I wasn't rich? So I said, wait a minute. It got to be November and they shut the jobs down because you don't walk steel on the ice. And next spring, come time for them to go to work, and they went on strike. So we didn't go to work till after school was out. But I went to work when they got done. So I worked two years of iron work. And made a lot of money. The bosses always liked me, and I got the overtime, and I got the jobs on Saturday coming in and picking up the loose bolts and screws and getting paid for it. So I saved my money, went back to Kirksville. Decided I was going to be a teacher and it was going to be a good one.
Hmm.
But those instructors, oh, I can't get over how smart they were and how many things they told us that were true. But they'd been Army instructors, you know, there's no nonsense in that business.
No, yeah. Where did you and Faye meet?
Blind date. I had this idiot sister. Thought we ought to be together. Finally, I decided to go meet her. Oh, man, was that a mistake. I met her in a house, a dorm, that they had those big waiting rooms back then, you know, chairs and pianos and mirrors on the wall and chandeliers and big long steps. Here come Faye, coming down those steps. Sissy boy blouse, nice pants, saddle alters, 120 pounds, prettiest thing I ever saw in my life. That was it. I was done. I took her home to my dad, and my dad said, "My God, you look just like a puppy." Every time she said, "Son, you sit down beside her and start panting like a dog."
How long did you date then?
Oh, 3 months, 4 months.
Not very long.
I'd have married her that night. I never saw anything like that in my life.
Did you ever thank your sister?
No. You think I want to get her big-headed? But anyway, we've been married 68 years.
Wow. You
And,
got married young.
She is the most even-tempered person you ever saw, and one of the nicest persons you ever saw. She never makes enemies. She's got a lot of good friends. She came from a very good family. In fact, her mom was a Democratic governors, because she's Democrat. She was a personal secretary to 2 governors.
Oh, really?
And, you know, she carried herself real well and was real smart. And her dad was a carpenter. But he worked as a finish carpenter. He got higher wages than the other because he was doing work in the state house and the state buildings and the schools and the hospitals and was, you know, a perfectionist.
Uh-huh.
He was a nice guy too, but he didn't talk much. When he did, you better be listening.
Okay. Do you talk much, Faye? Did you talk much?
No, I don't talk a whole lot.
How about before Parkinson's? Did you talk much then?
No, not even then.
Did you let Ray do most of the talking?
Yeah.
She talked a lot, really. I mean, she just got quiet. I guess
When you had all your boys around here, 3 boys and your daughter, did you talk much then?
she talked all the time.
No, I did not.
It's not like she doesn't talk.
Yeah.
She does talk.
Did you have a profession or were you a homemaker?
Oh, I was a teacher.
You were a teacher?
First, second grade.
First and second grade? Were they combined classes?
Well, at one time I had a combined class, but then other times it's just I had the individual class.
First
Okay.
or second.
Uh-huh. Did you go to college for that?
Oh yeah, I had. Yeah, you had to go to get a teacher's certificate.
Where'd you go to college?
Went to school at Western Illinois and also Northeast Missouri. State
Kirksville.
Teachers College.
Oh, at Kirksville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have to get a master's degree at some point?
Oh no,
No, just
he has a master's degree.
Okay.
In fact, I got 2 master's degrees.
Really?
I got one in industrial education because at that time it was after World War II, and we were building these shops that were going up all over. And I was pretty handy. And so I wanted to teach industrial arts, and I did that for 15 years.
Okay.
But I also studied psychology, and I got a master's degree in psychology through the University of Illinois.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I was going for my doctorate. I wanted to be a psychologist. And I had everything done, and I'd been accepted, and everything was going at Arizona State. All I had was 8 hours left, all elective, and my dissertation. But I had been working in a factory for, that was a pretty good job. Been working for Mobil Oil. And I decided if I'm going to go back and get that degree, I better get back to thinking like a teacher. So I went back for more teaching. Well, I got in this little community, and things just went so well that we just raised our family. And when it come time to go back and get that finished up, I got to thinking. Her sister was a psychologist. And she wasn't really the person I want to be around. And I got to meeting all of her friends out in California. That's where she taught. And I got to thinking about it, and I thought, I don't want to spend my lifetime with these guys talking about this stuff. I want to be back where I can be my own man. Raise my family the way I want to. So I said, well, I'm just going to forget that. Best decision ever made in my life.
All right.
I didn't want to be around those kind of people. They're nice and all that, and they can have their own crowds, but that's not what I am.
Yeah.
That's not what she is, and that's not what my family is.
Okay.
And by living in a small community, you can have more of a family life.
You can.
But anyway, I was teaching school at Harp, Illinois.
Yeah.
And it was a big school. I mean, for rural school, the 3 or 4 high schools went together and made a big unit. In fact, we had 18 buses. And I loved it. I really liked that area. They're really good people. Up near Burlington, Iowa, Keokuk, Fort Madison, not far from Galesburg, Macomb, right, a good agent. And boy, they had some good jobs along that Mississippi River. A lot of woodworking, cabinet woodworking, coffin makers, and the metal workers, a lot of casting because the sand was perfect for cast along the river was perfect for working it. But anyway, I liked it, and I was living happily ever after when I got a phone call. And it was from a referee that had refereed a few of our games when I was in high school. And he said, would you like to have a good job? I said, I got a good job. 2 weeks before school starts. I said, I don't think I'd be interested. He said, would you like to take a psychiatric 3-day test? I said, I've been trying to take one all my life. What do I do? He said, be at Washington University at a certain time. And I spent 3 days down at Washington University. You know where that is, don't you?
Washington U's in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had 2 days of orals, of written, and 1 day of oral examination. And I went home. And they said, we'll let you know how you came out. And I never did find out. I got a phone call about a week later. And it was a guy from Mobil Oil. And he says, will you be interested in making $10,000 a year? And I was making $4,200. I said, no, not really. He said, would you be interested in 10.7? I said, what's this going to be? He said, well, we have bought a new business, Mobil Chemical. And we need somebody to go in there and tell us what we bought.
Where was it at?
Jacksonville.
Okay.
And I said to this guy, how'd you get my name anyway? He said, Bill Bill, whatever his name was. He said, you always played basketball. And he said, you made friends on every team you played against. And he said, that's the kind of guy we need. He said, they never got mad at you. He said, that's what the ref said. And they hired me. I couldn't pass that kind of money up. So I went in and I took training with McKinsey and Company for 3 months. You know what McKinsey and Company is? They're a business that teaches business how to do business. Mm-hmm. And they sent me up to Purdue. They sent me to University of Wisconsin. They sent me to U of I training session. And they made me take Introductory to Straight Thinking, The Power of Positive Thinking, that sort of thing classes.
Sure.
And it was intense. So after I got that done, I went to work. You know what I did? Shift foreman on the line.
Really?
Yeah. And my job was to teach those people how mobile operated. That was my job. And I did.
How long did you work for them?
4 years. But I also, it evolved into a profit improvement team because I remember when I walked into that place, it probably had 2,000 employees, and I knew every damn one of them, every one, from just being around.
Wow.
And they really liked that being bought in Mobile Oil, because Mobile Oil is a top company. Mm-hmm. Walked in and I said, well, we're trying to get together this leave program. We said, you're going to get this year, all your vacations, your holidays off, and you're going to get, I don't know, whatever it was. And I said, we're going to put another on there. You get your birthday off, paid. Well, that was unheard of back in those days.
Taylor takes that all the time.
See what happens when you give an inch?
Yeah, I know.
He must have a lot of birthdays. What is he, 73?
He takes his birthday and his half birthday off every year.
Anyway, make a long story short, I worked a line, and I worked on one shift, and then I'd work on another shift as a foreman. But here's the thing that made it work, is my boss was not anybody from that mobile chemical plant. My boss was from New York City. They worked from Rochester, New York. Nobody in that plant had power over me. Nobody. They didn't know that. And I was quick to learn how the machines worked. Mm-hmm. And I was quick to say, Jason, you've been running this machine for a long time. I'm looking at it and I don't understand one thing about it. I'm counting on you. I'm just counting on you. I got to. Our production went up. Bang. Because I trusted everybody to do the right thing. If they identified them. But that was a really good job. And I like I said, I still had this bug in the back of my head to get that PhD.
Yeah.
Only what? Yeah, PhD. And it just didn't work out. Reason I quit is they had a big project, and I was overseeing that, and got that done. And they said, we've got good news for you. What's that? I said, we're going to send you to New Jersey to a paint factory. I said, no, you're not. I know 21 people in New Jersey, and they're all buttholes. And my cousin's one of them. I said, no, I can see this job, and I know what you're doing and what you are, and I know I will be a really wealthy man if I stayed with it. but I've got a family to think about, and you're going to drag me through all these towns that's got all these problems, and I don't want that. I've got to think of my family, not money. But if I wanted to be rich, I'd be rich, but I'm not going to be. That's what I told him. Pretty soon, here comes the vice president out of New York City to talk to me. A week or two later, he said, I don't know how in the world you think you're going to do this. He said, you know, I live in a nice house. I got 2 Cadillacs, and I'm dead broke. He said, I live from paycheck to paycheck. He said, I borrow more money than I spend more money than I make. He said, I make $65,000 a year. That's what he told me. And he said, most of my expenses are covered, like country club, any of that's covered. How are you going to do it? I said, well, I got 2 cars out there. I don't owe a penny. I don't own a house I've rented. I don't owe anything there. I got a little bit of money saved up. And I'm going to leave, and I'm going to go from here to a $4,000 a year job.
What were you going back to?
Teaching.
Mm-hmm.
To get, get back. Well, that didn't work because I got to teaching, and son of a gun, I got to handymaning, and handymaning is a good way to get rich because uncle never knows what you're making.
Yes.
And that's how I got these kids through school. I had 4 kids, and we put them all through school.
Yeah.
They helped a little bit, but when they went out of school, they did not have any debt, period.
Huh.
And I think they all had a car of sorts. But anyway, that's. But then I got to doing this hail adjusting. Not that I ever thought I'd want to be a hail adjuster because they didn't have too good of education. All you had to do was know how to argue. And so I got a job doing that. And they started me out $12 a day, trainee. And I went 1 year doing that. And another company called me up one night and said, hey, meet me in such and such for supper, two guys. And they said, would you? 1 year is all I taught, but I caught on really fast about crops. I understood them and people. And took me out to dinner and offered me $30 a day. I said, nope. Bill started me out. I'm going to stick with him. So Bill came by. That was my boss. Came by and he offered me $30 a day too. But I could adjust for that other company when they needed help.
Okay.
So that meant I didn't have much downtime.
Mm-hmm.
The long story short, by the time I had adjusted for 8-9 years, I was making $100 a day guaranteed for 100 days.
You're back up to what you're making with mobile oil.
No, I'm ahead of that because I was making 10.7 or 10.8 from teaching.
Oh,
we
my.
got that moved up because it went up.
Yeah.
But that's not the end of the story. I always adjusted 120 days.
Okay.
Because I would get off in the weekend. Faye was really with me. Like Columbus Day, I'd go up in Minnesota, northern Minnesota, and adjust those crops up there that were just getting ripe. And get paid a lot of money for being gone. So it made money. I've never had trouble making money.
How long did you teach for?
15 years.
And then what did you do at the end of teaching? Go into insurance?
Yeah, I never had any intention going into insurance, but an old agent came to me and said, I'm having trouble remembering things. I think I've got hardening of the arteries. He had dementia. He said, would you come and help me sell my insurance? I said, what's it make a year? I mean, what do you put in your pocket? He said $6,000. I said, that sounds like a pretty good deal. I think I could do that. He said, here's the deal. We had a contract. If you'll help me for 1.5 years, I keep all the money. But anything you sell is yours. New business. And I thought, boy, that's going to work perfect for this teaching job. It didn't work that way. For first 6 months, I never sold a policy. To the last day of December, I sold 2 car policies. The next 6 months, I put as much as he had on the books on my own. The next 6 months, I doubled what we both had on the books. The next 6 months, the other agent in town came by and said, I've got to sell you my agency because you're taking it away from me.
Wow.
So I bought it. And that doubled it. And by then I was making $30,000 on it. And I bought his for $30,000, but that had doubled it. But I didn't just double it because he hadn't been working it. I just added sold life insurance and everything else, made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. That's how I got started. And finally, I got to where after about a year, I had to quit teaching because I was too busy. I had to hire a secretary. And I went on down the road doing that thing, and I bought 5 agencies altogether. So we ended up being a fairly good sized agency, and nobody knew it.
Huh.
You know, the guys sitting down here at Taylorville, town of 12,000. Those guys thought they did all the business, but they didn't know I was writing in 15 counties. Not that many, really, about 4, really.
Okay.
But and then I got my tax bill. Gee whiz. I'm just working for Uncle Sam. I said, you know what? I don't need to make a big bunch of inheritance money. I think I'll just pay mine out before I go. I'll just see what the boys want to do. So all my 3 boys work for me. They work with me because I don't get them out of the game, but we just always been a family deal, and they've lived a nice, comfortable life. And I have too, and I'm not rich, but I'm happy.
You are happy. That's for sure. I can see that. What are when your kids were young, what were some family things you guys would do?
Well, since I was gone most of the week adjusting, I always made it a point on weekends to do something. Go somewhere near, do something. Go to parks, do things. We only took one big trip, and that was about 1981. We went out to Denver and Yosemite, and not Yosemite, Yellowstone. That was about a 12-day trip. And we had, because they all died, family in Virginia. Because we had a cousin that we went out, took time off, found somebody to milk the cows, took time out and helped them pick tobacco, pull tobacco they call it. And they came out of our house, our place, and lived with us off and on to learn how to farm. And they took those ideas back out there, and we were prosperous. But we always liked to go out there as our family. But I didn't ever do that with my family, but I took my family on trips out that way. Those Southern girls are pretty sweet.
Yes. How old were you when you got the Parkinson's? 76? 77?
Been 12 years ago, and I'm 88.
You're 88?
76.
Okay. And Taylor told me you were just recently in the hospital?
Yeah, just got out.
Okay. You were in for a while, right?
10 days.
That's a long time.
Well, she just run out of gas.
Mm.
She got dehydrated. She got a bladder infection. She got weak, couldn't walk,
Yeah.
couldn't talk,
Mm.
and was just going downhill real fast.
Yeah, yeah.
So we sent her in there, and they got her all charged up, and she's ready to go.
Okay.
She's doing pretty good, too.
And how long have you guys lived in this house?
Couldn't tell you. 20 years,
Okay.
something like that.
Was that when Jeff and Nancy moved here? Or moved into the other one?
The old big old house down on the corner down there, that I moved out and he moved in.
Okay.
I sold cheap and he sold high, and I never got any of the difference.
Well, I guess that's how it works sometimes.
Always.
Yeah. You said you came from a long line of Methodist preachers.
We've always gone to church.
Yeah.
We've always been Methodist.
Yeah.
Her family was Methodist. Mine was Methodist. Yeah, her uncle married us. We just had a strong Methodist tradition. And we've gone to church here, and over the years, they've had some good ones and a lot of bad ones.
How many grandkids do you have?
8. And I've got 4 step. Don't know how.
How often do you see them or talk to them?
Oh, I see them probably 2 or 3 times a year. The step ones I don't see as much, but about 2 times. And the other ones, I'd say 4 times.
Then Taylor comes along and...
Well, he got a little girl.
Yeah.
And she's not bashful.
No.
You know her?
I do. She'll let you know what she's thinking too.
Well, that's better than some of them. They don't think.
Yeah. You got any special memories about your grandkids?
Well, Taylor would not take a nap. I mean, not. And he'd come to our house and he'd play so hard till he'd just fall over. And we have a picture around here somewhere of him propped up in the corner by the refrigerator, sound asleep, standing up. He just went as far as he could go. And he wore that darn stocking cap that got him disinherited forever. He wouldn't take it off.
I think he came to Schweitzer with that hat on.
Well, I think probably the best thing I could have done was just take the corn knob and cut his head off. But, I can tell stories about my grandkids all the time.
Well, what do you, when you think about your life, like the big arc of it, what are you really proud of, or what?
Well, I'm proud that I held the line. It's pretty hard to change my mind if I think if I think it's right. If I don't think it's right, it's going to be a fight. And when I was teaching school, the superintendent said, "You know what? We have a meeting. We're going to do something." I never saw anybody so stuck in their ways as you. And I was usually right.
Is there anything you regret over your life?
Well, I don't regret it, but I've been in a position where I could have made a lot of money with what I saw, but I didn't have the money to do it. And an example is northern Missouri, around Lewistown, where in Kirksville. When I was there was mile after mile of old dirt roads and cabins that had fallen down and sheds that had fallen down on old cars and all that kind of stuff everywhere. Farms abandoned, and I worked for farmers in that area. You know, if they'd need some help, they knew they'd get me to come out and help them bail or do whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And there were several of them that were buying that ground up for $50 an acre and letting the grass grow, and it grew grass grew as high as your waist. Perfect pasture. And I even went to college with a couple of kids that bought that land and turned it into grazing, and they've made good money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I went home and told my dad about it, but he said, that's Missouri, they're dry. I said, God, never been dry. But anyway, I've seen so many things that have turned into cash cows that I just didn't have money to do it.
Uh-huh.
You know, like buy stock and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't regret it at all. And I don't regret quitting my job at Mobile Oil with all that money, because I don't regret that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't do it. I make up my mind that's the way. Well, I made a choice.
Yeah.
It's the way I'm going. And I'm basically happy all the time. Because I don't worry about things that I don't have any control over, and don't want. There's no need to worry till it's time to worry.
What are you looking forward to?
Staying alive. We're both 88 years old.
Yeah.
But we're in pretty good health. You know that.
Yeah.
Seeing it. I'm not looking forward to getting in a nursing home because I can't walk. But that might happen, might not. Taylor make a lot of money. Well, Taylor and I make a lot of money on these podcasts. We can maybe do something about that.
Yeah.
But I always look. I just don't know why, but I don't worry about what's happened. Worry causes cancer.
I think you may be
I
right.
believe that.
No, I think you may be right. It does. It's not good for us.
Yep.
Well, when you think about things you'd like to tell your grandkids, like bits of wisdom, you got any bits of wisdom sayings?
Yes, I would. You've got to remember, and you know this, and everybody to be listening to it knows this, but you got to remember that the most important sound that a person hears is the sound of his name. And when you're talking to him, unless you know him pretty well, he's not listening to what you say necessarily. He's thinking, what does he think of me? That's what you got to think. You know that he's doing that. Now, some of them are thinking bad things because they're bad people. But if you treat people right, call them by name, respect them, don't try to let them know how important you are, but try to let them know how important they are. Everybody likes to know how important they are. Everybody, even Putin. But it's just a lot of little basic things like that if you try to pattern your life around, you'll have a lot better life. And you just can't. You got to treat people right. You got to do all those things I said. Don't you agree?
I think those are great pieces of advice.
Those are just tip of the iceberg. You could add 10 more to it yourself.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But all of those little things like that you've got to remember.
Yeah.
You know my problem?
No.
The same problem you got.
What is it?
I know too much that's not true. If I only had room.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of that?
Yeah.
I think of it all the time. I think, good Lord, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, whenever you get into a story and You wonder maybe I'm telling more than what's true here? I'll tell you something my great-grandfather told me. Don't let the truth stand in the way of a good story.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think of that.
Okay.
Letting the truth stand in the way. But most stories I tell are mostly true.
Yeah, I know. I can see. Thanks for sharing your life with us.
Well, I hope you can get that sold.
We'll work on it. And it was good to have Faye on there too early on.
Is she asleep?
She may be, yeah. A big thank you to Ray and Faye for sharing their story. In listening today, I hope that you were inspired, encouraged, and challenged, and that you begin to behold the really cool people who are around you each and every day. The Really Cool People podcast is produced by Schweitzer Church, Springfield, Missouri. Taylor Likes is our executive producer and editor, and for this podcast, our driver. And I'm your host, Jason Leininger. You can help us by liking, reviewing, and sharing this podcast. Until next time, stay cool.